3 girls are fighting over a doll. It belongs to one of them, but each of the 3 says it's hers. Who do you think the real owner of the doll is? It must be this girl. Look, she and the doll have matching outfits. It's Halloween and some people got dressed as ghosts, but there's one real ghost among them. Who do you think it is? Look, this person doesn't cast a shadow. 3 friends went camping. 2 of them are real people, and 1 is a robot. Take a closer look at the photo of them and tell me who you think the robot is. It must be this guy. Take a look at the footprints each of them left. This guy's footprints are actually wheel prints, which is not very common for a real human. Amanda and her mom are participating in a game show. It's the final round, and Amanda's task is to figure out which of these 2 women is her mom. Both women are wearing masks, so Amanda cannot see their faces. Can you help her? Pay attention to the woman's hair color. Amanda is redheaded. This woman has red hair too, so I'd bet it's her mom. In any case, Amanda must know what color her mom's hair is, so she's safe here. Local police got information that their little town had been invaded. Officers started walking around asking for people's ID cards. I'll show them to you one by one, and you must decide who looks suspicious. For example, this one. What's your verdict? Look at this guy's birth year. No, it's definitely not a real ID. Here's another one. What can you say about this lady? Look at her place of residence. It's just the name of some place. There's no mention of a state or country. Nope, this person is suspicious too. The next person is this young lady, and here's her ID card. Do you see anything suspicious? She seems fine to me. I'd let her go. Another one. What about this person? This time, pay attention to this photo. All document photos should have a white background. This one isn't an officially issued ID card, so I'd say he's suspicious. I have the last suspect for you. What do you say? Is there anything we should be concerned about? No, he's okay. Let him go. A rich lady, Mrs. Reed, was looking for a person to clean her house every week. She invited 3 candidates and asked them why they wanted the job. Amelia said she wanted to earn some money during the summer to travel to another state with her friends. Colton said his mother forced him to do something in the summer so that he didn't play video games all day long. Danica said she was totally broke and needed money to survive. When they left, Mrs. Reed saw that her diamond necklace was missing. She guessed that one of the candidates had stolen it, so she invited them again. Take a look at them and figure out who the thief is. It's Danica. She said she was broke. The last time she was there, she was wearing old clothes. But look at her now. She has new clothes, gold earrings, and an iPhone. She must have stolen the necklace and sold it. On a snowy winter day, police got a call that one of the houses in the neighborhood had been robbed. A detective visited people living there, but everyone said that they'd been staying at home because of the weather. Still, the detective understood who was lying. This person became the main suspect. Who is it? It must be the person living in this house. He said he'd been staying at home, but he obviously parked his car after the snow had already built up on the driveway. So, the car was away for a while. Why would he lie? Another day, another crime. Mr. Spencer, a businessman, was robbed. He said he'd had a heavy safe full of cash in his bedroom. Now it was gone, and he was worried that he didn't have any proof that he'd ever possessed it. Still, a detective said that he believed the man and asked for details. How did the detective know the businessman wasn't a liar? Look, there's dents on the floor. Something really heavy was indeed standing there for a long time.
In a parallel universe, it's only allowed to have fun and eat candy. No one there ever reads or studies. Mrs. Relham came back home after a day-long snowball fight and a sauna with her friends. Her 3 daughters spent a fun day at home. She asked them what they were doing. Hannah said, "I was doing a puzzle." Elle said, "I was at my friend's. We built a snowman." Ava said, "I just stayed in bed, watched movies, and drank hot chocolate." Still, Mrs. Relham could tell that one of her daughters lied. Who was it? It was Hannah. Take a closer look at her puzzle. She barely started it. There are 3 snowmen standing in Allie's backyard. Which one of them is fake? It's this one. The sun is shining, and it's the only one that's not melting. Allie is participating in a winter quiz. Whoever wins gets a brand new skateboard. And she really wants it. Can you help her answer the questions? Here's the first one. What do you call a disrespectful reindeer? Rudolph, derived from rude. Got it? What kind of photos do elves take? Elfies, of course. Santa and his reindeer went swimming. Where did they go? To the swimming pool. Meanwhile, a bunch of snowmen went dancing. Where did they go? To a snowball. During the winter holidays, everyone gets presents. What did a cow get? It got a calculator. How many of these did you get right? Would you manage to get a snowboard if you were Allie? I hope so. Those weren't easy. Now let's test your attention with a couple of short riddles. Here are the rooms of 2 flatmates, Jack and George. Take a closer room and tell. Which one of them has a girlfriend? It's Jack. Look, there's a picture of the 2 of them on his wall. Okay, now let's take a look at these 2 flatmates. Both are girls. Which one of them has a boyfriend? My bet is the girl who lives in this room. Look, she has 2 cups on the table. An anonymous note was sent to the police, reporting that one of the students wasn't a real person, but a robot in disguise. There was a picture of a class, and the person must be in the picture. Who seems suspicious to you? Look, there are some electrical sparks around this person. Can you now find a robot in this photo? Look at this guy's footprints. They're wheel footprints. He should be a robot. Okay, now this is a hard one. Who's a robot here? It's this woman, the only one who's not sweating on this hot summer day. Also, there's an on-off switch on her neck. Charles woke up in a small room. He didn't know what happened, but there was a door. Unfortunately, it was locked, but there were 3 buttons. On one button, there was a circle. On the second one, there was a rhombus. On the third one, there was a square. And there was also a sign saying 12, 3, 6, 9. Which button should he press to get out? The clock right above the door is there for a reason. If you draw lines connecting 12, 3, 6, and 9, you will get the shape of a rhombus. So, Charles should press the button with the rhombus on it. Mr. Jones lives alone, and he left for Massachusetts to spend the winter holidays with his family. When he returned a week later, he noticed a weird detail about his house. What's wrong? Look at the roof of his car. It was definitely showing, but someone shoveled the snow in his front yard. That's weird. During the winter holidays, Vienna got a collection of her favorite book series. She spent a week reading them and left them all over the room. Now that she's done, she has to arrange them nicely on the shelf. She can't find book number 6. Take a close look at her room. Can you help her find it? This book seems like it's book number 9, but actually, it's book 6, just turned upside down. During the winter holidays, a dangerous criminal escaped from a prison in Texas and took a plane to New York. New York police arrested 3 men that fit the description and asked them where they had arrived from. The first man said that he'd arrived from London. The second man said that he had arrived from Toronto. The third one said that he had arrived from Florida. Who is the criminal? It's the second man. He's underdressed for a person who arrived from cold Canada in winter. He probably arrived from Texas, but lied. Karma is a dog. She's 13 years old. Her owner, Jessica, is 40 years old. Question: how many years ago was Jessica exactly 4 times Karma's age? It was 4 years ago when Karma was 9 and Jessica was 36. In Santa's house, there are elves working all year long to make presents for kids around the world. 10 elves make 10 plushies in 10 minutes. How much time do 100 elves need to make 100 plushies? If 10 elves make 10 plushies in 10 minutes, then it takes 1 elf 10 minutes to make 1 plushie. So, 100 elves will need the same 10 minutes to make 100 plushies. A woman has 3 sons, David, Cedric, and Philip. She's about to have another son. What do you think she'll name him? Trent, Evan, or George? The woman seems to choose names that start and end with the same letter, so her 4th son's name will likely be Trent. Jane woke up in a dungeon and couldn't remember what had happened to her. She came across a big metal door locked with a passcode. Can you help her figure out the last 3 digits? 854, 9176. Look, there are supposed to be 10 digits in total. So far, each one has been used only once, so maybe Jane should use the remaining 3 digits that haven't been used yet. 0, 2, and 3. But in which order? Well, there are just 6 combinations to try. But look, the other digits are positioned in alphabetical order, and so should these 3. So, the rest of the passcode is 3, 2, and 0. Jessica has 2 pets, a dog Milo and a cat Cairo. When Milo was 4 years old, Cairo was half his age. Now that Milo is 10 years old, how old is the cat? When Milo was 4, Cairo, who was half his age, was 2. It means that there are 2 years difference between them. If Milo is 10 years old now, then Cairo is 8. Let's check how attentive you are. Now I'll be showing you some photos, and you have to find out what's wrong or odd about them. Here's the first one. What do you say? The colors of the rainbow are inverted. Correct! Here's a new one. Will you notice what's wrong here? Pay attention to the calendar. It says February, but there are 31 days. February has either 28 or 29 days, but never 31. This one is even harder. Keep your eyes wide open. What's the mistake here? Look closer at the calculator. They go from smaller digits on top to bigger ones on the bottom, just like on a smartphone. But calculators have the opposite arrangement. Okay, here's a new one. What's your call? The reflection in the water is wrong. Here's the last one of these. Be attentive. This time, there's a car on the ice skating rink.
Once, a prison guard accidentally overheard very disturbing rumors. Someone was planning a prison break. The guard watched all the footage from the surveillance cameras and discovered that 2 women had been behaving suspiciously. One of them was a former bodybuilder, muscular, with short hair and covered in tattoos. The other was quiet and reserved. She preferred to spend time on her own and sometimes cried in her cell. After watching the video several times, the guard figured out which woman was planning to escape. Can you do the same? It's the second prisoner. There's a file in her bun. She can use it to get through the metal bars. Mark comes up to the table. There are 3 apples, but only one of them is safe to eat. The other 2 are poisonous. Unfortunately, Mark can't skip breakfast. So, which apple should he eat? Look, this apple has a caterpillar in it. It means there's no poison in the fruit and it's safe to eat. These 3 women, Jessica, Mary, and Olivia, went shopping. 2 of them are pregnant and one is just trying to steal a watermelon. Can you tell which one is hiding a watermelon? It's Olivia. She's wearing heels. It's not the kind of shoes a pregnant woman would choose to wear. Nathan, a successful entrepreneur with a multi-million-dollar business, and his friend Jackson, a famous private detective, returned from a long-term trip abroad. They decided to stop by at Nathan's villa on the way to the city. When the men entered the house, though, they saw that everything more or less valuable had been taken away. The entire villa was a mess. "I've only been away for a month. What happened here?" exclaimed Nathan. Jackson took an apple from the dining room table and started to munch on it thoroughly. "The lock isn't broken. It means the person who took your stuff had the key." After a while, the detective asked Nathan to invite 3 people. Mia, Nathan's niece, told Jackson she hadn't visited her uncle's home. She had been having serious problems with her car for already 2 months, and the villa was too far away from the city to get there by public transport. Sarah, the maid, claimed that she had stopped by several weeks ago to bring some food and tidy up, but since then she hadn't been to the villa. Adam, the gardener, told the detective he had been on vacation and had just returned. He even offered to show his plane tickets to Jackson. The detective figured out immediately who was behind the mess. You have 8 seconds to figure it out. It was the maid. She said she brought food several weeks ago, but the apple Jackson grabbed from the table was perfectly fresh. Once, Ms. White heard someone crying. It was her little student, Abigail. The girl told the teacher her cookies had been disappearing from her locker. Someone had been taking them for already several weeks, but Abigail didn't know who. Ms. White decided to help the girl. They equipped the locker with a simple alarm that had to go off if someone who wasn't Abigail opened the door. They hid behind the corner and began waiting. In 10 minutes, they heard the alarm. When they reached the locker, it was already empty, and there was no one nearby. But Ms. White noticed somebody disappear behind the art room door. She rushed inside, but everything looked normal. And still, the teacher needed no more than a minute to understand who had been eating Abigail's cookies. Look at the picture of the art room carefully. Can you find out the answer within 8 seconds? It's the girl on the left. Her painting's black and white, but there are only various shades of blue on her palette. And maybe the cookie crumbs are a giveaway too. I don't know. One perfume company hires new staff. They must swear an oath of loyalty to the company if they want to get a job. 10 people are saying the words of the corporate oath simultaneously, but some of them are cheating. Help the directors figure out who these people are. This guy keeps his fingers crossed, and the man on the left is standing with his legs crossed. They won't be loyal to the company, so the director doesn't hire them. 2 influential media moguls are having lunch at an expensive restaurant. They're discussing the merger of their companies. The transaction amount is several $billions. They're whispering since the terms of this deal are top secret, and they suspect that someone can hear them. And they're right. Some curious people are eavesdropping on the conversation between the 2 businessmen. Try to find them. The girl at the next table is reading a newspaper that is turned upside down. She's obviously trying to overhear what the billionaires are talking about. This guy over there is listening to music, but the headphone wire is not connected to anything. Another girl is sitting at the table in the corner with a cocktail, but instead of an umbrella, there's an antenna in her glass. She's recording the conversation. "Where are my employees?" a boss shouts. He's furious because 3 people haven't come to the office. He calls each of them to find out the reason. All 3 tell him they got ill. The boss doesn't believe them, so they have to arrive at the office. Mary is wearing a warm jacket, hat, and scarf. She sneezes, coughs, and looks sick. Lori is walking on crutches. Her leg is in a cast. Sometime later, Michael appears. He's got a hand injury, and now he can't type. The boss is sure that one of them is faking. Who is it? Mike's left arm is broken, but his phone is in his left pocket. He must have used his broken arm to put it there, which means he's pretending. Apparently, he just didn't want to come to work. Ice will melt if you heat it, but if you heat me, I'll become solid. What am I? I'm an egg. You buy this thing to eat, but you never eat it. What is it? It's a plate. Mia was going back home one evening. It was 11 p.m., and she had to cross a small dark park in front of her house. Suddenly, she heard footsteps behind. Someone grabbed her bag and ran away. The girl called the police, and they questioned 4 suspects. Jack said, "I was choosing an outfit for a party." Camilla was getting ready for her final exam at home. Andrew told the police he had been watching birds in the park. Nora was at her yoga class. After the interview, the police understood who was behind the robbery. Can you? It was Andrew. At 11 p.m., it's too dark to see birds. James left a folder with important documents on the table in his home office and went to a business meeting. When he returned, he found out that the documents had disappeared. James had 3 suspects. His brother said, "I've been swimming in the pool since you left. I haven't seen or heard anything." The cook replied, "Tomorrow we're having a party. I've been preparing the food." The security guard told James, "I've been outside all this time, checking the garden for mice." Who knows where the documents are? It's the security guard. His job description doesn't include pest control.
Ashley is a stewardess. She finds this cute puppy running around in the airport. 3 people come over and claim to be its owner. Can you guess who's telling the truth? This guy. His tattoo matches the dog's name. Ashley walks to her flight gate and passes by this waiting area. But then the gate changes, so she has to walk through that place once again. Ashley spots 10 differences. Can you see them too? Here they are. Ashley is checking passengers' passports before letting people on board. Suddenly, the security service calls her with a warning. One of the passengers is using a fake ID. Ashley finds 3 suspects. Can you spot the fake passport out? There's no February 31st, so this passport is definitely fake. Finally, the plane is taking off. Ashley takes a look at the passengers and spots 3 odd things. Can you see them too? This lady has 2 safety belts. This guy is talking on the phone. It should be put in airplane mode. And the view behind this window doesn't match reality. There's no hot lunch on this flight, but you can buy it additionally. The price for chicken is set at $15, and the beef costs $12. Can you guess the price of a fish lunch? The cost of one vowel is $5, and the cost of a consonant, $1. Fish has 3 consonants and 1 vowel, so it costs $8. One of the passengers, Josh, calls Ashley. He begins to complain. Someone had stolen my phone when I was in the toilet. Ashley questions 3 people sitting nearby. What happened when Josh was away? Chelsea says, "Sorry, I was watching a movie, so I didn't look around at all." Bobby says, "I was reading a book, but I think I heard the sound of a rustled plastic bag." And Nina says, "I was sleeping. You woke me up with your stupid questions. Who stole the phone?" Nobody. It's still in Jeff's pocket. Ashley checks the business class passengers and spots one witch among them. Can you see her too? This lady is hiding a magic wand. Ashley lands in a foreign country and sends her boyfriend this message. Can you guess what country she's in? Singapore. Ashley goes to her hotel by train. She sees these two billboards on the way. She can't decide if they're identical. Can you spot any differences? In fact, there are 5 differences. Ashley goes to the local restaurant. There's an open kitchen, and she can see the chef at work. Ashley makes an order and leaves for the ladies' room for a while. When she returns, she spots 10 differences in the kitchen. Can you see them too? Here they are. Ashley sees a group of office workers having lunch together. Suddenly, their boss spills hot coffee on his laptop because his palm is stuck to his mug. One of these 3 co-workers prank their boss. Can you guess who? It's the lady in the middle. She's wearing double-sided tape as a bracelet. Suddenly, one of the guests in the restaurant faints. The manager calls an ambulance. The doctors arrive very quickly and take him to the hospital. The police question witnesses. The cook says, "This guy didn't order any food. He just asked for a glass of water." The waitress says, "He looked so gloomy. I decided to cheer him up and served his water in a silver glass." The manager says, "He called us in advance to reserve a table in the corner. He insisted that I must send him an official invitation." And the cleaner says, "I saw him washing hands in the restroom. I swear he didn't have any reflection." Can you guess what happened here? The guest was a vampire, and he got sick because of the silver. Ashley is visiting the local farmer's market. A group of tourists asks her to take their pictures. One of them is not from this planet. Can you guess who? This lady. She's eating a pomegranate with the peel. Ashley wants to chill at this beautiful beach, but she sees a zombie among the guests. Can you spot it too? It's this guy who's reading a book upside down. Ashley goes hiking and gets lost. She finds a sign that shows 3 possible ways out. Unfortunately, each path hides some danger. There's a toxic marsh that swallows people on the first path. The second path is a hunting place for vampires. And the third path holds thousands of venomous snakes. Which way is more or less safe? Ashley should choose the second path. Vampires only hunt at night. Ashley, Nellie, Sarah, and Melissa are coworkers and friends. They land in Paris and come to a party together. But at a certain point, they find out that Ashley had disappeared. She was locked in the basement of the music hall. Can you guess who did it? It was Melissa. Pink sequins from her fancy dress lay by the door. Ashley receives this rebus from her boss. Can you guess which country is her next destination? She's going to Belgium. Ashley is packing her bags for the trip. How many emojis can you see here? Here they are. Ashley is having breakfast at the airport. Can you find any emojis in this food? There are 3, actually. In the waiting area, Ashley meets her old school friend, Kelly. They go to the local coffee shop to chat. Suddenly, Kelly begins to yell, "Please help me! My suitcase is gone!" Ashley questions 3 witnesses. One of the passengers, Paul, says, "This is my suitcase. I've already wrapped it in plastic to protect it from scratches." Nina says, "I went to the restroom and asked the barista to look after my luggage." And the barista says, "I looked after Nina's luggage and I didn't look around. Sorry." Can you figure out the thief? It's Paul. There's a sticker with Kelly's name under the plastic. Ashley enters the plane. There's an imposter among the flight crew. Can you help Ashley find this person? It's this stewardess. Take a look at her uniform. The air company logo is a little different compared to all the others. Ashley lands in Brussels. She walks into the local park and takes 2 pictures. Can you find 10 differences between them? Here they are. A motorbike rider asks Ashley to take his picture. She takes 2. Are they identical? There are 3 differences, actually. In the hotel, Ashley meets an opera diva, Esmeralda, who's having a world tour. She has visited almost all the countries, and she has finally arrived at the last one.
Oh, no.
In the morning, a maid finds Esmeralda unconscious in her room. The police arrive and find out that Esmeralda was poisoned. They question the suspects. Esmeralda's husband says, "She wanted to be in bed early, so I went to the lobby for the night." Esmeralda's manager says, "I was in my room all evening. I was preparing for the concert." And the hotel waitress says, "I only brought her juice in the evening. She was fine." The police check fingerprints in the room and find many prints on the glass. Who poisoned Esmeralda? It was the manager. She said she didn't leave the room, but there are prints on the glass. In the morning, Ashley is having her next flight, but her taxi breaks on the way. She's stuck at the gas station 50 miles away from the airport. 3 drivers stop, offering to give Ashley a ride. Which car would you choose? The first car is stolen. And the 3rd driver is a runaway criminal, so Ashley should choose the 2nd car. Ashley returns home and puts all her cash into her stash as usual. The next evening, she returns home and realizes that someone had stolen her money. How did she guess? Ashley's cash was in the globe. Its parts don't match anymore. Somebody opened it when Ashley was out.
Shane opens a new beauty salon. He needs to hire some hairdressers and find these 3 candidates online. Bella has impressive experience. Tyler has recently won a prestigious award. Fiona specializes in hair coloring and has a nice Instagram profile. One of these candidates is a liar. Can you guess who? Bella says that she has 25 years of work experience. But according to her profile, she's only 22 years old. That's impossible. So she's the liar. Shane invites Tyler and Fiona to visit the hair salon for a job interview. He wants to test their intelligence and sends each candidate this map. Can you help them find the right destination? Take a closer look. These are English letters. To understand what's written on the map, you need to remove this icon. The hair salon is located over here. Fiona manages to find the beauty salon. Shane wants to test her skills and shows Fiona these 10 tubes of hair dye. Her task is to decide which color is different. Can you help her? This one. What about these 10 cubes? Can you sort one color out? The fifth one doesn't belong here. Shane decides to hire a cleaner for his hair salon, Bobby. Shane asks him to come every Wednesday, but they agree that Shane would pay Bobby $2 per day. But if Bobby would miss a day, he would have to pay Shane $3. After 15 weeks, it turns out that Shane owes Bobby as much as Bobby owes Shane. How many times did Bobby miss work? Bobby missed work 9 days and earned $18. But he also missed 6 days and lost the same amount of money. One day, Shane enters the hair salon and sees 2 clients. One of them is a runaway criminal. Can you guess who? The lady on the right just gets some styling. Meanwhile, the lady on the left is changing her hair color completely to look different. Therefore, she's a criminal. On Sunday, Shane throws a birthday party at home. He invites a bunch of people. In the midst of the event, Shane decides to show his friend his new diamond watch. But he realizes that it's gone. Shane is sure that the thief is among the guests. He identifies several suspects. Violet says, "I came here to keep an eye on my sister, so I was with her all the time." Jeanette says, "I arrived because I got stuck in a traffic jam. Everyone's on their way home from work. So annoying." And Mike says, "Sorry, I was so hungry that I didn't even leave the table." Who's a liar? Jeanette. People can't come back from work. The party takes place on Sunday. At the party, Shane serves 2 dishes with cookies. Can you find any differences between them? Here they are. This night, the beauty salon was robbed. The thieves didn't find any money. That's why they took expensive gadgets and some beauty products. The criminal boss gathers all the thieves in his office to decide what to do with the loot. Suddenly, the room becomes completely dark. When the lights turn on again, the thieves notice their boss unconscious on the floor. His assistant wants to find the guilty person as soon as possible, so he questions everyone. Jeff says, "I went to the toilet at that moment." Carl says, "I was checking the stolen money in a special machine to sort out the fake ones." And Paul says, "I was drinking my coffee and got scared when the light went out." Who attacked the boss? Carl said that he was going to check the money, but there was no money among the stolen items. Only gadgets, so he's a deceiver. The next morning, Shane enters the hair salon and learns about the robbery. He calls the police. The officer arrives very quickly and examines the crime scene, but he finds no signs of a break-in. He questions 3 witnesses. Fiona, the hairdresser, says, "Yesterday, I finished my last haircut at 5 p.m. and went home." Emma, the cleaner, says, "I finished cleaning at 8 p.m., locked all the doors, and went home." And Mia, the nail artist, says, "I had a day off because I was attending a birthday party." Who's lying? Mia. Take a closer look at her hands and the door. One of her false nails is missing because it's stuck in the lock. Shane is choosing new mirrors for his hair salon. Can you help him spot which mirror isn't fake? Only this one has a real reflection. One day, a foreigner enters the hair salon. He doesn't speak English and communicates with emojis. Can you guess his job? He's a radio host. Shane decides to take some pictures for the beauty salon's social media. Each worker strikes a pose. Can you see any difference between these 2 pictures? Here they are. Shane arrives at a new beauty product store. He gets lost in the basement and the door behind him slams shut. Shane needs to enter a 5-number code to open it. Can you help him crack the password? See this note next to the door? It's a clue. Count the number of corners for each shape and you'll get the code. 30465. Finally, Shane arrives at the beauty product store. He spots some weird things about this place right away. How many odd details can you spot? There's a ketchup bottle on a shelf with shampoo. The salesman has 4 hands. This poster advertises a 120% discount, which doesn't make any sense. And finally, this mirror is lying. Shane is walking down the store and sees something very curious on the floor. It's not alive, but it has 5 fingers. What is it? It's a glove. Shane is buying one thing. It comes from a mine and it's surrounded by wood. Everyone uses it. What is it? The correct answer is a pencil. Shane comes outdoors and faces these people. Who has a superpower? It's the guy on the right. On holidays, Shane invites his girlfriend to play hide-and-seek in the woods with his 3 friends. Suddenly, they find an abandoned house. Shane says, "Hide over there and I'll seek." In a couple of minutes, Shane finds his girlfriend unconscious on the floor inside the house. He questions his friends. Tyler says, "I hid in the courtyard behind the fountain." Pam says, "I decided not to play, and I was reading a book on the beach." Alex says, "I was playing in the garden among the roses." And Dylan says, "I hid lying down behind the trees." Shane asks everyone to show their hands. Can you guess who's guilty? Tyler. If he hadn't entered the house, his hands wouldn't have been rusty. Shane's brother Kyle is a rich businessman. They have dinner in a restaurant and meet 3 beautiful ladies. Kyle invites them to eat together. Bella is a promising model. She loves orange juice and dogs. Sheila is a divorced housewife. She has 1 little daughter. And Ella is a student and an Instagram blogger. She's in love with her car. That night, Kyle was robbed. One of the ladies stole a briefcase with $1 million. The police caught the ladies the next morning and knew immediately who did it. Can you guess who's the thief? Ella. Someone went shopping. Early in the morning, Shane opens the hair salon and faces an unpleasant surprise. Someone had knocked over a flower pot and left a mess all over the floor. Shane questions 3 suspects. Fiona says, "Yesterday, I had a date. I tidied up my workplace and left at 6 p.m. Bobby says, "I washed the entire place and left home at 8 p.m. My wife can confirm my words." And the new nail artist, April, says, "Yesterday, I didn't have any clients, so I was watching videos all day and left earlier." Can you guess who's guilty? It wasn't people who did it, but these 2 rats. Apparently, they got in at night. Allison has 2 coins which total 35 cents. If one of the coins isn't a dime, what are the 2 coins Allison has? Well, one is not a dime, but the other one is a dime. So Allison has a quarter and a dime. Let's start with a couple of simple teasers to warm up your brain for today's challenge. The day before yesterday was the 17th. What is the day after tomorrow? If the day before yesterday was the 17th, it means that today is the 19th. So the day after tomorrow is the 21st. Wendy's birthday was yesterday. She turned 16 years old. Yet, she's turning 17 this year. How is it possible? Wendy's birthday must be December 31st, and today must be January 1st, already the new year. A family is on vacation, carelessly chilling at the beach all day long. They were drinking their iced cocktails when suddenly, the youngest daughter, Odette, asks, "What day of the week is today?" No one knew. The father said, "I only know what tomorrow is, neither Thursday nor Friday." The mother said, "And I'm sure that yesterday wasn't Saturday or Sunday." And Adele, an older sister, said, "Today is definitely not Friday, not a Monday, and not a Tuesday." What day is today? Let's cross out all the impossible days. From Dad, we know that it's not Wednesday and not a Thursday. From Mom, we know that Sunday and Monday are also out. Adele said no to Tuesday and Friday, so it's a Saturday. Avery walked into a room and there were several doors there. On the first door, there was a sign saying, "Lion's Den." On the second door, there was a sign saying, "Mountaintop." On the third door, there was a sign with just a question mark. Still, Avery knew exactly where the third door was leading. Do you? The third door is the door Avery walked through, so it led back there. Once upon a time, there was a happy family living in a house in the shape of a dome. There was a mother, a father, their daughter, a chef, a maid, and a puppy named Oliver. One day, mother and father came back home and found out that Oliver had gone missing.
No!
They asked who was the last one to walk him, but everyone denied it. The daughter said, "I was reading." The maid said, "I was dusting the corners in the house." The chef said, "I was baking an apple pie." Who is responsible for Oliver's disappearance? The maid. There's no corners in a dome-shaped house. Mrs. Lawrence has 3 daughters, Ava, Bethany, and Chloe. She's about to have another girl. What do you think she'll name her? Riley, Daphne, or Ava? Mrs. Lawrence seems to follow the alphabet, so I bet she'll name her 4th daughter Daphne. In the middle of a pond, there's a little island, and there's a butterfly sitting on a rock. If it swims north, it's 2 minutes to the mainland. If it swims east, it's 3 minutes to the mainland. If it swims south, it's 1 minute to the mainland. If it swims west, it's 5 minutes to the mainland. Which way should it swim? It shouldn't swim either way. Butterflies fly. Once upon a time, an evil witch kidnapped 3 women and turned them into rose bushes. One of the women begged the witch to see her husband before she left him forever. The witch agreed. She took the woman home for the night and returned her to her rosebush state the next morning. The woman had warned her husband, and the husband was following them to rescue his wife. Look at these 3 identical rose bushes. Which one is his wife? The rose bush that was his wife doesn't have any of the night's dew on the leaves. A married couple went on vacation. They locked up their house and gave the keys to a neighbor, along with instructions on what to control and maintain in the house. Just in case, the wife hid her jewelry in a safe place. While they were on vacation, there was a power outage in the house. There was no electricity for a couple of days, until the neighbor came back to check the house. The neighbor cleaned everything up by the time the couple got back. The wife couldn't find her jewelry. The neighbor swore that he didn't touch it. Where did the jewelry go? The wife hid them in a freezer. After the power outage, everything melted and the neighbor threw out all the food and jewelry as well by mistake. Now, a tricky question for you. What is the difference between electricity and lighting? You have to pay for electricity. Anna is bilingual. She speaks English and German. She had 4 exams to write: English, math, history, and geography. She wasn't prepared for them well, so she wrote all of them in German. All teachers returned her tests because they couldn't understand anything and suggested she write the test on a different day, in English. Still, one teacher could understand what she had written and gave her an F. Which teacher was it? It's the math teacher. Mathematics is all numbers, and they're the same in most languages, so the teacher could understand everything and check the exam. It's an early Monday morning. William and Daniel are both driving to work. Who is not being smart? Daniel, he hasn't fastened his seatbelt. It's not safe. James and Delaney are getting ready for a big family barbecue in the evening. James is cooking and Delaney is busy with all the decorations. Who is not smart? James, he's cooking in the direct sun and there's milk standing right there. It'll go bad very fast. Riley and Tessa are doing house chores. Riley is vacuum cleaning the house and Tessa is outside shoveling the snow. Which one of them is in danger? Tessa, look, she's standing right below big icicles hanging off the roof. Every day, a woman was seen crossing the border carrying bags of sand on a motorbike. After some time, the border police got suspicious and stopped her. But they found she had only sand in those bags, so they let her go. What was the woman smuggling across the border? The answer is right in front of their nose. She's been smuggling motorbikes. Jonas lives on a farm. He just bought 7 horses. He's riding one of the horses, leading the rest to his farm. On the way, he's counting the horses he has, but he can only see 6. Problem, he paid for 7. He takes off, walks away, and counts the horses again. 7. Everything is correct. He hops up on a horse and keeps riding home. Midway, he's counting the horses again. 6. What do you think is his problem? Jonas always forgets to count the horse he's sitting on. Grace and Hope are twins, and they like to mess with people. Grace lies on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and Hope lies on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. One day, you walk up to them and ask what day it is. Both of them say, "Yesterday was one of my lying days." Which day is it? It can't be a Sunday, because they both say the truth one Sunday, and someone is obviously lying now. So one of them is lying, and one of them is telling the truth. So it's either the first day Grace lies, or the first day Hope lies. So it's either Monday or Thursday. It can't be Monday because in this case, both would lie saying yesterday was a lying day. So it's Thursday. Grace is telling the truth, and Hope is lying. Ben has an equal number of sisters and brothers, but each sister has twice more brothers as sisters. How many brothers and sisters are there in the family? There are 4 brothers and 3 sisters. So every boy has 3 brothers and 3 sisters. Every girl has 4 brothers and 2 sisters.